right, welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News. I don't know why I'm yelling. I feel like I'm yelling trying to talk to that tablet, but I think they can still hear us. Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News with me.
Scott Allen.
Yeah.
Make sure you put your name in there.
Well, I would think if somebody's watching us that they already know who I am.
Man, we got a good show tonight. Had an off weekend for racing this past weekend. The only racing that was done was the K&N East cars were in, Greenville Pickens. They were at Greenville Pickens this past weekend. And but that was the only racing going on around the area. I got to spend a little bit of time down at Clary Speedway, the dirt track in Brinkleyville, North Carolina, that's called the Ring of Fire. Spent some time with Buddy Isles Sr. and my buddy Joe Huss. I tell you what, that was an experience to sit and listen to Joe. I learned more stuff about, he drove a car for Tiger Tom. He drove a car for Tiny Lund. He ran a race at Martinsville that Dale Earnhardt spun him 3 times. I mean, he was telling all kinds of stories, and his buddies were in there, and I did not know. And for people who are not from our area, from the Emporia, Southampton County area, there was a rivalry at one point back in the day, back at the old Chantilly Raceway, where it was Spec Edwards, Joe Huss, and Bud Elliott. Okay, Bud Elliott is Elliott Sadler's uncle or something. Anyway, he drove for Sadler's. Joe Huss drove for M&W Chrysler Plymouth, and Spec drove for Watkins Ford. And they were all within a little triangle of each other. And I used to go around and look at them. But then he got to telling the story that he's the one who started the race cars at Watkins Ford before Spec got in it. And I did not know that. I did not know he was over. I knew he did the 33, but I never knew he did that one. And the stories he told. And then he got to telling stories, and some guy told him, look, man, he said, don't listen to everything he's telling you, because he's trying to make himself look good. If there was something going on.
So in other words, it's like hanging out with you.
Yeah. No. Like you.
Well, I'm not going to deny that.
Anyway, the racing news from this week, Scott and I will be going up to Martinsville for the truck race and the cup race this weekend.
Where are you staying?
Well, I was thinking I might stay with you. Is there a problem with this now? I mean, we'll hash this out off camera.
Well, it depends on how you act tonight. I mean, you might not. You might or might not.
All right, I done forgot what I was getting ready to say.
Racing news.
Oh, yeah, racing news. How about in the trucks this weekend at Martinsville, all 3 of the Decker girls are going to have a truck.
That's a big deal for that family.
It is. I mean, the 2 sisters, Claire and Paige, they're sisters, and Natalie is their cousin. Okay, and all 3 of them, Natalie's going to be driving an NTS truck. Claire's going to be in a Mike Harmon truck, and then Paige is going to be doing the Jennifer Jo Cobb truck. Well, I got a message here. I'm getting all kinds of messages.
He can't do but one thing at a
time.
time.
Got that right. Baseball. What are you talking about baseball? Oh, never mind. Anyway, that'll be fun to. We know those. Well, I know those girls pretty good, so it'd be kind of fun to be able to go watch them try to make a truck race. I mean,
yeah.
I think Paige has tried before.
I haven't looked at entry. Is there a lot of trucks for Martinsville? I wouldn't imagine so, but
I think there's 36.
And what do they start?
32.
Is it okay? I know they only have 40 cup cars, so there'll be a full field for the first time since Daytona. Yeah. I think.
And Kaz Gralla is going to be in the 33 truck for GMS.
Oh, is
Gallagher Motorsports this weekend.
We'll have to go say hi to him.
So that'd be tough. That'd be good to be a part of that. And Ryan Ellis got a big deal this week. I
didn't see how many races it is, but it's supposed to be.
It's going to be
8 or 10.
8 to 10 races with BK Racing, in the 93 car, and supposedly they got the sponsorship and everything already built up for the car. And
good for him. I mean, he's a great kid.
So it'll be interesting. Oh, now I understand what it is. They went to a baseball game. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my grandson. But they had testing today in Richmond for the Goodyear tire test. Joey Logano, Danica Patrick, and Greg Biffle did the test. So that was pretty.
Was Denny Hamlin there?
I didn't see.
I seen.
I think he was.
Periscope
Denny Hamlin was there. Yeah.
They were talking to him afterwards.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for the news. There wasn't a whole lot else to talk about. I mean, it's been an off week this week. So everybody enjoyed their weekend off.
No, what did Lee do the weekend?
I heard he went away to Savannah or somewhere this weekend. So don't know. I haven't talked to him, but briefly in the last couple days.
So it'll be fun. Martinsville. Martinsville is always a great, fun place. It's like our local short track that we're used to racing on Saturday night. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
I can't wait to get up there. I mean, it's good to be. I mean, this first race we've been to this year, and
yeah,
it'd be nice to get up there and see the folks we hadn't seen in a little while, because I mean, there's a lot of guys that have changed teams and doing little things differently. So I'm excited about doing all that. Got a good show tonight for you. Starting off with Thad Moffitt. He is Richard Petty's grandson. And
starting out in the late model series, right?
He's in a late model series, and him and Dylan Martin. And I didn't know that it was a part of a Petty program. It's Empire Racing, but it's part of a Petty program. They're going to.
No, I didn't know that.
They got 2 or 3 drivers involved in it. Also, we're going to have the legend Donnie Allison tonight, and that ought to be an interesting interview there, because I'm sure he's got a lot to tell you.
Yeah. So if you guys got any questions, hit us up on the Facebook Live and give us some questions if you got a question for Donnie Allison.
Yeah.
And that doesn't stand for you, Robbie. Robbie, you probably already know all the answers if you try to hit us up with a question. Although it would be probably funny.
Oh, does Robbie know how to use a telephone? That's the thing I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I know he doesn't. Not really. He can Facebook, but he doesn't.
Yeah,
phone's not.
Yeah, he owes me a phone call, so I'm just telling you. And we're going to have Buddy Isles Sr. from Clary's Raceway tonight.
Brennan Queen says I need a Mountain Dew Voltage. Me and Danny Mallard. Danny needed something because he fell asleep on the wheel on the kart race at Dixieland Saturday night. He sat on the pole. I don't know how. I mean, I don't. He had to have cheated. I don't know. I don't know what he did, but he sat on the pole and led a lot of caution laps, and with just a few to go.
I heard it went before regular laps anyway, so I mean.
4 green flag laps. But I did talk to Phil Warren down there. He said they were trying to figure out, wasn't sure how they were going to do their tires for South Boston this weekend. Not this weekend, next week, I'm sorry. Next weekend at South Boston, because they can only buy 2 tires. So they're trying to determine if they buy 2 or they're going to buy 2, if they're going to try to find, because you can get scuffs out of the shed from way Phil was explaining to me. And he was going to have to go look and see what kind of scuffs they had. If they had some good scuffs, he was going to try to get those, and then put new right sides. If not, they're probably going to maybe have to put the new ones on the left, run them, and then flip them over and put them on the rights for the following week. But they lost a crew member. He got a new job, so they're going to be shorthanded, and Phil's hoping he don't have to start doing tires.
Oh, there you go.
And I almost Brandon said he got nervous and he used to win at hockey, so he backed out. He's not used to a win, so he backed out of the hockey.
You must be talking about Danny.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Okay, I didn't. We were going in one direction there for a second. It'd be, I'd like to see what's going. I'd like to go back to South Boston that weekend to see the race up there. I think that would be good. But Dominion is opening up that weekend.
Oh, are they?
The 9th. I saw where a bunch of cars went up there.
I heard. I don't know if this is fact. I heard those tires that they're running, like they are like 5 or 6 inches circumference bigger than a lot of the Hoosiers that everybody's running.
I heard that too, and I heard it was a completely different type of field than what they were used to.
So that's going to be very hard for.
But I looked at the list of the folks who was going up there to Dominion, and it surprised me. Some of the names that really are going up there surprised me because I didn't think they would.
Me too, but I mean, until we get the confirmation on Langley Speedway, I mean, I got confidence in of course, there's only a bunch of speculation. I mean, we hear that Langley's going to open, but all these other tracks are benefiting from that. But I just don't know how many guys like a Brendan Queen is going to go to Dominion when you have to do so much to change the car to accommodate for those tires.
All right, well, here's our first call for tonight.
3, 6, 4, 3.
Good evening, and welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News. Is this Thad?
Yes, this is Thad.
How you doing, sir? Good to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I got Scott Allen with me. We're really excited about having you on. Now, tell us a little bit about your racing this year. What all you got going on this year?
We just started racing maybe a month ago, and we got in a limited late model with Empire Racing and Mike Cheek and all them. And I started in go-karts last year, and then at Christmas they said, "You want to drive a late model?" I said, "Shoot, yeah, I want to drive a late model." And they put me in a late model car, and I've been driving it for a month now, and we've raced at already 3 different tracks, and we're going to a 4th one this weekend.
Now, you say you're driving for Empire Racing?
Yes, Empire Racing.
All right, now what is the tie-in with them and the Richard Petty organization? I saw Richard Petty on your suit and everything. What is the tie-in there?
It's just they had a late model, and they have their own team, and Richard Petty's driver development partnered with Empire's driver development, and I got in there. That's how that ties in.
Now, is your crew chief Mike Cheek?
Yeah, that's my crew chief.
Oh man, I hadn't heard that name in a long time. I used to know him really well, and I hadn't heard that name in a while. So it's good to see that he's with you this year.
Yeah, he used to run the truck team, I think, at Richard Petty Motorsports.
Yeah, well, I knew, but I hadn't heard his name in a long time, and that's really cool that he's with you. Now, where are you going to be racing this weekend?
Hickory.
Oh, you're at Hickory this weekend. Have you ever raced? I mean, have you been out there to test at Hickory or anything?
Oh, yeah, we tested, I think it was like 3 weeks ago. We tested there on a Friday, and then we got rained out on a Saturday.
All right, now, you say this is your 4th track. How many other tracks are you going to try? Are you just going to be going up and down the East Coast trying tracks, or are you going to go somewhere and finally settle in for, like, trying to get some points or whatever?
We're just traveling the whole East Coast, and I think we're going to do some of the Southeast Limited late model races. We caught the one at Anderson. We did that one last Friday, and then came back to Caraway, and then, of course, it rained at Caraway. But we've done Anderson, and then Hickory and Caraway, and we're going to Southern National and Motor Mile, Ace Speedway, just all of them up and down the East Coast, really.
So what made you decide to get behind the wheel and start driving?
Well, I've always wanted, since I was little, I've always wanted to drive something or ride something. But then just recently, I just decided that, I don't know, I just wanted to drive a race car. And then they said, well, we'll put you in one. And so then I got behind it, the wheel, and I like it even more than I thought I would. And I don't know, there's nothing really I'd rather do than drive a race car.
I didn't know if you had to talk your mom into it or not.
No, she was used to it because she grew up in it. Just like I I figured she wouldn't have a problem with it, but she never really did have a problem. But she does like me to have a roll cage, like with the go-karts. I wanted to do some flat kart racing stuff, and she said that's not safe enough without the roll cage.
So you had to run a champ cart.
Yep, the champ buggy.
So now, what's it like, man? And I'm not trying to delve into this too much, but what's it like to have that legacy behind you as far as the Petty organization? There's a great legacy there, and all the people that come from there. What's it like to have that behind you, and does it help or hinder you in some ways?
Well, it kind of does both, and I think it's really, really cool, first of all, because my grandpa is a lot of people's heroes, but he's my hero too, and it's really kind of special to have a grandpa like that and an uncle like that. But they're just like when we get together as a family, they're just like normal people. Like that's all I know, because that's my grandpa and that's my uncle and my cousins, and we're just a normal family when we get together. But it helps you a lot because your name's already out there and all that kind of stuff, and get good publicity and lots of the other stuff. And then where it hurts you kind of because there's kind of like haters.
Yeah.
I mean, sure you get. It's kind of a double-edged sword. You know, some people are jealous, and then some people like it.
Yeah, and there's high expectations from other people too.
Right. Yeah.
For me, being a Petty, people expect more of me than they would of other young 15-year-old late model drivers.
How much do you pull from them? I know it's a family situation, but do you go and sit down with your grandfather, or to go and sit down with Kyle and talk racing and talk what's going on? And can you go there and have that kind of discussion with them?
Oh, yeah. The other day, my grandpa took me to the shop in Mooresville, and for the whole hour ride up there, we talked totally about racing and he said how to hold the steering wheel and how to. He only drove with his right foot. He told me, but he said I never used 2 feet whenever I was driving, and I said, well, then I'm different because I used both feet. And he said, well, that's okay because every driver has their own different kind of driving style. But he said he's not going to try and tell me how to drive because we're different people, and I got to figure that out by myself. But he said he is going to try and give me pointers if there is something there that he thinks he can help me with.
I mean, how cool is that to be riding down the road and talking with somebody with well, let's just put it out there like it is, the king of stock car racing. I mean, you know,
right,
that's got to be big to be able to just sit and have a conversation with him like that. Now, your teammates with Dylan Martin over there at Empire, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So will you all be racing at the same places, or is he going to different places and you're going to other places from where he's at?
Whenever they race the late model stocks and the limited late models together, he races the late model stock and I'll race the limited, like they do the one at Caraway, and we'll race them like at the same place. But he does ARCA racing too, and they're going to Nashville, and I'm going with them to Nashville just to be part of the crew, but not to drive anything. So we travel as a big family with Empire, kind of like, because family's a big part of racing, I think, as in they same way they do it at Richard Petty Motorsports is how we try and do it at Empire.
So who do you go to for advice when you are at the racetrack?
My crew chief helps me a lot, Mike Cheek. He's good pretty much everywhere that I've been so far. He can tell me what to do. Even at Anderson, he had never ran at Anderson before this past weekend, and we both helped each other on figuring out the track pretty good. And there's other drivers at the track that I'll talk to about stuff like that, and spotters, and everyone's pretty much open to their own opinion, and I ask them about it pretty much.
Now, are you familiar with the setup in the car, or do you just try to concentrate on the driving side of it and giving feedback?
I just try to concentrate on the driving side and give them some feedback, like if it's tight or loose, or if we need a track bar adjustment or more tire pressure or stuff like that.
So,
But I'm still learning.
what was your biggest thing that you had to get in your mind when you started this year in a limited late model and a late model? What was the biggest thing you had to get used to?
I don't really know. I mean, in the go-karts, you never really had anyone to talk to, so there was sometimes where I'd be like sitting in the car and I'd forget I had my radio button that I could press and ask for help in the car instead of coming off the track or on pit road and asking.
Yeah, that's.
But there's not really that big of any adjustments except for the third pedal too, and that's not in a go-kart, it's in a stock car with shifting gears and everything. But we picked that up pretty quick. We went to the track one day and just spun tires the whole day shifting gears.
And you say, did you know how to drive a clutch before you got in the stock car?
I learned how to drive a clutch like 3 months ago probably. And I started driving 2 months ago, so I learned about a month before I started driving.
Well, now that's a heck of a change right there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a big deal right there. You went from not being able to drive a clutch into driving a clutch and racing at the same time. That's pretty big. That's pretty big.
So what?
Once you get up to speed, you don't have to change gears anymore. So I like that.
Yeah. So what was it like your first race before you're going around and warming your tires up? What was the feeling like on your first late model race and thinking, this is what you wanted to do and you're starting to achieve that? What was that feeling for that very first race?
There was a lot of nerves built up and a lot of stuff, a lot of anxiety, but I just kind of kept my head cool and just stayed calm the whole time, and I knew that whether I did good or whether I did bad, that my family and my grandpa and my crew and everybody was not going to think differently of me, and they were still going to be there for me. And so that's what I just kind of raced my race in my first race like I had done it before.
Well, that's cool. Well, Thad, we appreciate you being with us tonight. Give your sponsors a shout out there and tell everybody who your sponsors are, and we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I like to thank Transportation Impact, Jacob's Company, Petty's Garage, Richard Petty Motorsports, Hosteller Farms, Empire Racing, and my mother, my father, and my grandpa, of course.
Oh yeah. You better do that.
Yeah. You might want a bigger ride one day.
Well, we appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for making the effort to call in here tonight. It was really good.
And good luck, bud.
And good luck to you. And hopefully we'll get you back on here sometime real soon, and you can tell us about winning some races.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank y'all for having me, and y'all have a good rest of the show.
Thank you very much.
Too.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it, man.
All right.
Bud. He's a nice young man.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell he's got his act together, and but he made the comment about being in the car riding to Richard Petty Motorsports with his grandfather, and they're talking racing. Now that had to be a surreal moment. Well, it'd be a surreal moment for us, maybe not for him.
He talks to him all the time.
Yeah, but it would really be something interesting to be a part of.
I go back to some of our comments here on Facebook Live. Just turned out to be a cool thing here. Brennan Queen, I read it wrong. I couldn't. He said that Danny got nervous. He's not used to winning at hockey, so he just backed off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Brennan got it right. And then, just so he knows, he left his tires there for the race on the 9th. at South Boston because they impound your tires. So you got to leave tires there, come back, and then he's going to be at East Carolina on the 16th.
Oh, okay.
So thanks for that. And Gary Osborne wanted to know could you turn the treble up on the second row on the mixer board?
We're not using the mixer board.
We're trying something new out here with the Facebook Live, and it's turning out pretty well. So I want to thank everybody for watching us on there and asking questions. We're getting ready to call Donnie Allison.
Yeah.
And what a legend in the sport.
You got that right.
So if you guys got a question for Donnie Allison, a real question, or even if it's funny, we'll go for it. We'll ask it. And Clayton, I don't know if you catching us on here or not. I know sometimes you have trouble with Ustream, and this seems like maybe this will be a thing in the future. We'll do both, and we'll still post the video later, but we'll do our Facebook Live stream if it runs the whole time, which it appears like it is. I see people joining us and commenting. Donnie Allison.
Donnie Allison coming up in just a second. As soon as I find find all the stuff on it here. You go ahead and talk while we're doing this. I mean, I know you got something to talk about.
I always got something to talk about. I was
You
talking about
and Danny Millard out having a good time or whatever.
Well, I don't know, man. He was in a It was that time. Well, I shouldn't say that. He was having a rough time earlier when I first went up. He didn't even speak to me. I said, God damn, he must be sick, because he ain't even talked. And then afterwards, he come by me and act like he was all right. He act like I'd messed around with his wife or something at first.
Well, no.
Which, I mean, you couldn't blame her. I mean.
So I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to try that. All right, let's go ahead and call Donnie.
Hello?
Hello, is Donnie there?
Is this calling?
This is Jack Dodson from Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News.
Okay, hold on just a minute. Hold on.
I believe that's a first.
It is. This must be a landline.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Allison. How you doing tonight, sir?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. This is Jack Dodson with Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News. I've got Scott Allen with me tonight, and it's an honor, sir, to have you on the show tonight.
Yes, sir.
Well, we appreciate it. Well, what we're going to discuss with you a little bit is your career in the sport. Give us some of the highlights in your career in the sport of racing.
What are some of them?
Yeah, what are some of your highlights?
Well, I won the 70 Firecracker 400 in Daytona. First of all, I was Rookie of the Year in 1967 from NASCAR.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then I won the 70 4th of July race. I won the 1970 World 600 in Charlotte. I ran 4th in Indianapolis. I was Rookie of the Year in 1970. 1971, I finished 6th in Indianapolis. And then I went on 76, 77, 78 to win races in a Hawaiian Tropic car. And then the biggest highlight, I guess, was the 79 Daytona 500.
Yeah, that put your name on the map there, didn't it?
Well, I don't know if it put my name on the map, but it helped put NASCAR on the map.
You got that right. It sure did. Now, what was it like to go up to Indy, being a stock car driver, and going up to Indy and being you were pretty successful up there. So, what was that like?
In fact, I had the best of any NASCAR driver. The only one that came close was Kurt Busch, but I liked them. I ran a lot of super modifieds, and they weren't hard at all for me to adapt to. And I also drove for a very, very, very good driver. Now I drove for AJ Foyt.
Yeah.
So that was a big help. But
I liked them. I really liked them. Where other guys that went out of stock cars up there really didn't care for it that much. They were doing it to please a sponsor or something like that. I did it on my own free will.
Now, were they very accepting at Indy when you showed up at Indy? Did most people then try to sort of help you and give you some pointers, or was it sort of, you were the black sheep?
Well, no, a lot of the guys did offer a little help, not ongoing. You know what I mean? In other words, we were pretty well saved ourselves, but AJ was a big help, and I learned a lot by myself. I went through some pretty tough experiences the first year. Crashed the car in practice, and it was probably most of my fault, but we were trying some stuff they shouldn't have been trying, really. And I crashed it and took 7 days to fix the car, and when they got it fixed, my fastest lap I'd ever run was the first fast lap I ran after I wrecked.
Wow.
It was a very, very trying experience, to say the least, but it was a very, very good experience.
Mr. Allison, one of the things that comes to mind when I think about the Allisons and everything is the Alabama gang. How did all that come together where all you guys were right there together and become what they call the Alabama gang?
Well, actually, it started back in the 60s, and we went to the guy that really started the phrase the Alabama gang was a guy from North Carolina, Jack Ingram, that ran a late model Sportsman at the time. We showed up at a race, Bobby Red and myself, and he said, "Oh no, here comes the damn Alabama gang." And that really got that name going. And then we had a promoter in Alabama, Bob Harmon, which really, really capitalized on that. I mean, he used that, and he was over about 3 racetracks, and so every one of them used that saying. And actually, see, at that time we'd run 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, and it got to be used so much, and the news media and everything else, that definitely stuck. And if you look back on it, which I didn't at the time, and I'm sure Bobby Red didn't, well, the Alabama gang was a pretty bad gang because they took all the money.
I've heard that story where they were scared when y'all showed up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, when you were racing back in those days with you and Bobby and Red, all three of you racing. Did you all spend a lot of time together as far as helping each other with the cars?
Oh,
or
very definitely. We raced very hard, raced each other very hard, and but after it was over, we traveled together, we stayed together, and the first year we were there, we all lived in the same complex together, and we worked on each other's cars. If one got in a little bit of a jam with his car, the other two went and helped him out. Bobby and I built Red a car after he wrecked the car real bad one time, and we definitely helped each other, but when we got on the racetrack, it was every man for himself.
how in today like it is today, how often do you get to be around Bobby and Red and all that group?
I was with Bobby all day today, or near about all day today. Easter, I was with him all Easter afternoon. He got out of Mass about 12:30 or 1, and I picked up. Pat and I went to earlier Mass. We went to his house and picked him up, and he was with us all day. Bobby and I spent a lot of time together. Red, we don't get to see that much because he's in Alabama. Bobby and I are both here in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And but we were with Red 2 weeks ago at big shindig we had in Montgomery, and we see him quite a bit. We're not around each other, nothing like we used to be, but we see each other a lot, and we talk a lot. He'll call me on the phone, or I'll call him.
You know, one of the guys from the Alabama that wasn't one of the three of you guys, but Neil Bonnett. Give us your opinion and your thoughts on Neil Bonnett. He was one of my favorites.
Well, Neil was probably as good a race car driver as there was, and you know, he was really he was a pipe fitter when we first met him. He used to come to Bobby's shop and hang around there, and he always wanted to drive one of Bobby's cars, and he got a ride in the cadet division down there. Him and another guy, they built a cadet, and he was pretty successful. Well, he come to Bobby's, and he said, I'll do anything. I'll sweep the floor and do whatever you want me to do. And so Bobby, next thing you know, he got the opportunity to drive one of Bobby's cars. And from that period on, it was straight up. I mean, everything he got in, he ran really good in. He won races. It was tragic that he got killed like he did, but he was such a fine guy too. We used to fish a lot together. We were all really together all the time down in Alabama.
Now, back in your days when you were racing, you had 10 wins on the what is now the Cup circuit. But what were some of the guys that you raced against? You probably the hardest guys you ever raced against. Maybe that's a better way.
The hardest guy I ever raced against was Bobby. I raced Richard Petty a lot, Hale, Pearson, Walter, all them guys. I raced when all of them were in their heyday, and you know, it's like Richard Petty. You know, he won the Daytona Beach 500 7 times, and I gave him 3 of them.
Now these days with the Alabama game, there's a couple of guys, I guess, coming along. I heard Justin and Robbie Allison. Is it good to see them coming along and being a part of that the history of the?
But it's hard now. See, nothing's done anymore on talent or ability. It's done on money.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Robbie, he's just starting. He's as green as a gourd. For a better explanation. And Justin is probably the furthest along, but we don't have the sponsorship, so right now he's not running. We ran a late model last week at Myrtle Beach. He didn't have very good luck. Got wrecked on the first lap, but and then my other grandson, Taylor, Pam and Hudson's son, he got a late model. He went to Montgomery a couple weeks ago and ran the first race, and he had followed me anyway. He finished 15th, but out of all 3 boys, I mean, they all got potential, but Justin, to me, is the furthest along. He's the one that I spent the most time with. I haven't, Robbie, a year ago, he ran a legacy car for a year, and he didn't do too bad at all. I think he's like the generation nowadays. They really want to get the cart in front of the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, they all got talent and ability. It's just a matter if they get the money to do it with.
So do you still are involved into the racing side of it with the grandkids and Robbie?
Yeah, definitely. And see, my sons built an Allison legacy car, and we've been doing it 20 years. They have a series. In fact, their first race is next week at Hickory for this year for 16. I think my wife does all the race preparing and scheduling and everything like that, and I think she's got either 12 or 14 races this year.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask.
I still do the races all the time.
Well, I was getting ready to ask you about that Legacy Series because you used to run some when the Hooters Pro Cup cars were running. The Allison Legacy Series was part of that. You know, they would run some of the same tracks, and that was really some good racing. I really enjoyed that.
Well, you know, the sad part about it is it's the best racing there is, and a lot of people won't be involved more, especially with the younger generation. They're the best car built for a youngster to drive. It does more for their schooling on driving than anything they could get in. You look at the guys that run legacy cars that have gone on, Joey Logano, Trevor Bain, Vickers.
Brandon McReynolds run it for a while.
Brandon McReynolds, yes. You Justin, he won the championship, and then he won an ARCA race. He ran 10 ARCA races 2 years ago, and he won Pocono.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't understand it, but that's the way people do things. They want to run a late model, and I think a late model is the worst thing they can do. But anyway, we're looking forward to this year. Pat's got a few more cars coming back, and there's a lot of cars out there. People just don't run them.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned 1979 when you and Cale and Bobby
Had a little wrestling match.
pretty much started NASCAR on TV and everything with that. Tell us a little bit. Give us your side of the story. What all took place that day?
Again?
Yeah, I want to hear it. I've heard all kinds of stories, but
Well, I can't say what I really want to say on the air, but the SOB wrecked me, and that's all there is to it. And then when we ended up stopped, we had a few words, and I really and truly didn't think about fighting. I was so hurt from here I was that close to winning the Daytona race again, and I wasn't going to do it. And, probably good, because if he hit me or touched me, I probably would have killed him. I got a very, very bad temper, and then when I lost it, that was, I told them they didn't have enough corner workers down there to stop me. But anyway, then Bobby showed up, and then, the fight broke out. Well, actually, Cale walked over and hit Bobby in the car, and I grabbed Cale and turned around, and I said, look, if you're going to fight, I'm the guy you should be fighting with. And Bobby got out so fast. I don't know how he got out that fast. He had everything hooked up when I saw him. The radios and all that stuff. But here he comes. And I saw him. I saw that look as a kid. I knew what was going to happen then. It was not a mystery to me that there wasn't going to be some fist flying. And
Does it still?
He hit Bobby with his helmet again, and I said, hey, man, I got one of them going to fight with a helmet. But anyway, it was a bad deal that day. It was a good deal for NASCAR. I mean, how could you ask for anything better? The whole week the T-board snowed in. It's first live telecast race, and Ken Squire's up there half a mile away telling everybody what was going on. He didn't have an idea. He was watching the TV screen. But everybody did a good job.
it was amazing. I mean, I remember it, and it was amazing how it went off, and how the sport grew after that, because it gave a big interest to everybody.
Right.
Did the France family give you a check for that?
No.
Because I think you deserved a little bit.
Now tell us how you get along with Cale now.
I get along with him. I don't talk to him.
Oh.
No, we've been to a lot of functions together, and I mean that's gone and over with. And the only thing I can tell you is, you go back and listen to my interview in 1979, and listen to it in 2015, and it's the exact same interview. It's like I told him, you don't remember a lie that long.
Are you still mad about it? Does it still stick in your? Not very many people win the Daytona 500. Right. Yeah.
And here was the third time I should have won it, and that's something that kept me from winning it. Now you don't wreck somebody from the front.
Right. Yeah.
So
And the thing about it is, when he knocked me sideways, he never got out of the throttle.
no, he sure didn't.
If he had got out of the throttle, I could have straightened my car up on the wall. I mean, he was as bad as he hit me. I could have straightened my car up on the wall. But see what that don't show on that TV that you see from CBS? Was he hit me in the back before he ever hit me on the side?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't show that. And Bobby appealed it. They fined all three of us $6,000, and they put Bobby on probation. That made Bobby mad. So he appealed it. We went to Atlanta to the appeal. And the day before we left to go over there from Alabama, somebody called my house. I answered the phone. Well, my wife called me to the phone. And they said, Donnie, they have a film that shows the wreck, make them show it to you. Who is it? They have a film that shows the wreck, make them show it to you. Click, they hung up. And I still don't know who it is. I thought I did. I went down the line of NASCAR people, top to bottom, and didn't get nobody to admit it. I thought it was actually a route. Anyway, when we got over there, they showed us the film, one at a time. Me and Bob. Bobby went in the room across the hall. He said, I don't want to see the film. He said, I didn't. He said, I didn't appeal the wreck. He said, I wasn't in no wreck. So the third film was the one that showed it, and I got him to back it up and stop it when we first contact. And Liz Richard stood up and said, why in the hell hadn't we seen that film? That was the end of the appeal. They didn't do anything to Bobby and I, but they put Cale on probation. And I heard he appealed it, so I don't know what. I never heard any more about it. I've never heard another word about that. So you tell me.
Does it amaze you how big?
That was a company car, you know. What are you gonna do?
Right. Does it amaze you still today to how big a story that still is?
Yeah. Well, every time you turn the TV on, it's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that was a pretty big show. That was a hell of a race that day. And the way all things started out with the bad weather and everything else, and then Bobby and Kel and I reckon on the 29th lap together. You know, that's like, you know, I keep, well, who calls that? I got hit. I was in the front again.
Well, Miss Dodson, we appreciate your time tonight. It was really an honor to have you on and talk with you and get some.
Well, I hope everything went well, and at least more people know about the Daytona 500 now.
Well, I tell you what, you've pretty much done that. That pretty much, you've pretty much got NASCAR where it's at. I think they owe you a little bit more.
Yeah,
than that.
like a.
All right, they do okay.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
All right,
Well, as long as we keep making the racing better.
that's right. I
They
agree.
went through a little period there of bad racing, and now it's on the way back up. It's a lot better.
I think so. I think you're seeing a whole lot different than what it used to
Yes,
be.
it is. It's definitely different.
Well, Bob,
Okay, guys.
we appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you again sometime.
All right, bud.
All right,
Thank you
now.
very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Should have asked him, was he going to be at Martinsville? 'Cause sometimes they're around there.
I thought he said he was going to.
Oh, yeah, he was.
But
But I don't see Jimmy Hensley around there a lot.
yeah,
We'll have to run into Jimmy.
I would love to get Jimmy Hensley
Yeah.
on there. My daughter, she loved Jimmy Hensley.
Yeah, he's just a good old country boy.
Yeah, to say the very least.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our last guest tonight, certainly not last, but you know, not. He's still part of the. He's not last, but what do they call it? Last, but not least. Is that what it is? That's what it is. Could you help me when I'm trying to?
You were struggling good on your own.
How you doing, sir? This is Jack Dodson. How's everything?
Who, what?
This is Jack Dodson. How you doing tonight?
Doing fine?
Good. And I tell you what, I got Scott Allen here with me. We do the show together, but I really appreciate all the good stuff that went on down at Brinkleyville this past weekend.
Yeah, we're trying to get the track pumped back up this year. Matter of fact, we had car show last weekend, open practice, and this weekend we got my famous double down weekend. We race on Friday night and Saturday night. So yeah, we're trying to get it going there, Jack. So appreciate y'all coming down last weekend.
I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate that Joe was there and everything you did there for us at the racetrack. It was a lot of fun, and you have a great looking racetrack. You've done a lot of good work there, and it's a great looking racetrack.
Yeah, it's a really a nice racetrack. It's fast. It's about 3/10 of a mile probably, maybe a little bit bigger, not much bigger, about 3/10. Red clay is fast. It's easy on tires. Down here we run the soft American racing tires, and it's very easy on cars as far as turning them up because we don't have no inside guardrail. And the guys got somewhere to go, if the driver don't do something stupid, But yeah, it's a pretty cool racetrack. Been here since 1988, so been here a while.
Buddy, tell us a little bit about all the classes that you're going to run down there a little bit at the track this year, and some of the things you got going on.
All right. Well, we'll be running 6 classes this year. We're going to run the U-Cars, which we should have. We got about 12 new U-Cars guys that built some U-Cars. That's a beginning 4-cylinder class, a front-wheel drive. And then we got our pure stock 4-cylinders, which is a stock 4-cylinder type motor. Then we got the super stock 4-cylinder, which will give you, a little bit more modified motor in the 4-banger, and give you a little bit handling and better tires and stuff like that. And then we step up to a class we call the pure stock V8s, which is a V8 V8 entry class with 8-inch tires with a limit on the motor for us. I think we got a 500 cam rule on it and a 66 head, 50-pound crank. And that's a really good class down here. To me, that's some of the best racing out here. Then we jump from that, we go to what used to be called the Super Street, but they renamed it a couple of years ago to the Limited Sportsman. That's the class my son, excuse me, Buddy Al Jr., my son, was driving in the last couple of years, and that class is one step under of course, the late model. And then we got the limited late model class, which they run about, them guys are pumping about, 670 horses maybe. And then of course, the only class above that is the super late model, which we might run them on a special show, but we don't run supers. Maybe we might run them once a year this year. But the late models are fast class. That's the $60,000 to $70,000 cars. The ones you saw at this I think we had 5 there.
Yeah. So, have you got everything set up for the whole year? Or are you still looking for help to get through the year? What's going on?
Well, we're gonna run about 25, 26 races. They can go to ClarusSpeedway.com. We have April race set up where we're gonna put the rest of the schedule up probably next week. And the reason why I don't have it up is we'll be running some of these I-95 late model races. We have 3 out track, 3 at the county line, and 3 at Fayetteville. And at the end of the year, the leading the points gets like a $10,000 bonus, at the end of the year. And I added that thing up the other day. I told my son in the shop here the other day, I said, that's $40,000 for chance of win this year if you run them all. If you win 9 races, you can win $40,000.
Wow.
That's a lot of money for us.
I don't know where else you can do that.
Yeah, well, we have our track last year. The last race last year was a $20,000 to win. And Russell Urban from Beaver Dam, Virginia, won that. Russell won that race, local boy. That was $20,000 to win. Now this year we got an $8,900 to win. The Montclair July the 4th race. That'll be the first weekend in July. That'll be a double down. We'll race Friday night and Saturday night. And then we come back in, I think in September, we run our second I-95, and that's going to be a Thursday night will be at Fayetteville. Friday night will be at Clarence, and Saturday night will be at County Line. 3 nights of racing for the I-95 boys. And then we'll come back. We got the last race the first weekend in October. And that's going to be our last race for the I-95 series. And that's probably going to be a $10,000 show that weekend, probably. We haven't said it down for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be close to it.
Buddy, you told me a story while I was down there about the situation you have there at the track, being with Monk's family and everything there. Is that something you be able to tell us again about how you're involved in that track?
Yeah, and it's pretty well public knowledge how back in Monk Clary, JC did when Monk passed away in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
But I was over there in South Hill, Virginia one day, and I came up 50. Let me stop here and talk to Monk and JC. I ain't seen them in a while. So they shut the track down in '08, so it's been closed for 4 years.
And anyway, I got out of the car, walked up in the shop, and Monk was sitting in the chair. He jumped up like he saw a ghost or something. I don't know what he said, he said, buddy, he said, when do you want to open at the track? When do you want to open at the track? I looked at Mom, I said, Mom, I don't have that kind of money to open up no racetrack. So, racetrack is about $30,000 a night operation budget. I mean, it costs about $25,000, $30,000 a night to run it. Press and light bills and help and all that. He said, I didn't ask you that, buddy. I asked you when you want to open it up and run it. I said, money. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, I'll give you the track, rent free. He said, you don't have to pay me 1 cent. He said, you run it any way you want to. You can do anything to it you want to. I don't care if you turn it east to west now. See, I don't care if you turn it north and south. Anything you want to do. And I looked at him, and I got kind of excited, because, I've been racing dirt since mid-'70s. I started with Joe Huss, and, helping Joe Huss back in the early 70s, So, we talked for a while, and Monk said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, you get you 3 sponsors. He said, I'll put in $15,000. He said, I'll back you $15,000. You get 2 more, we give you $15,000. You have $45,000 to operate the track. I said, okay. So I left there. And the time I got back in my truck, after 2 hours of talking to him about this and that, I started calling people up to my friends and all, racing buddies and anybody I could think of. And man, before I got back to Louisville, which ain't but about 40-minute drive, I had people ready to go. So we had a meeting. That was September 2012. We had a meeting over there on a Sunday afternoon about opening the track up. And I had 78 drivers, I believe, showed up.
Good gracious.
And 300 more people. We had about 400 people showed up that Sunday afternoon. And the place was a mess. I mean, just like any track you shut down, just went down,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, I said, we're going to open this thing up in 2013. I said, to let y'all know I'm serious, we're going to run 2 races in November this year, 2012. Now, this was September, I don't know, the second week in September maybe. And they looked at me like I was crazy, So anyway, we told them what we were going to do. And the next week, started working on it. And and don't get me wrong, I can't even call all the volunteer help that went into that track. I mean, people donated their time. They donated their equipment. They donated their money. Some people gave some money. Some people gave fuel. And we worked. We got that thing cleaned up. And I redone the pits and redone the gates, redone the fencing. I mean, I changed the on and off ramps, moving around. I mean, I done enough work. It would have cost $100,000 you had to pay for it. I'll tell you what it would have cost, at least. And we opened up and ran 2 races in November. And then we came back to open up in 2013. Monk passed away in, I think, it was January or February. I can't remember. Had a heart attack and went in done bypass and he didn't pull through it. And I went to the wake, and I was telling Jack about this. I went to the wake and got up there with JC and and the brothers and all and family and all. And JC grabbed me like brothers. He said, we hugged each other and and excuse me, tears came in my eyes and choked up. And JC said, buddy, he said, you do exactly what did it. You do exactly what you and your daddy were talking about. He said, I got your back, whatever you need. And that's how we open it up. And I open it up. It takes 33 people to operate that track. And everybody's been working there. Worked for me. We ran 30 races in 2013. We've done the double downs, the Friday and Saturday night race, the first weekend in every month. Same thing we're doing this year, double downs, first weekend of every month, Friday night, Saturday night, 2 payouts, 2 different races. And everybody that worked for me, even this year, they're working for me, are working for free. Nobody gets a cent out of the racetrack. Now, we ain't got it in the green yet. We just need some help. We need somebody that loves racing, that got a little money, got a business, got some money to, let me put 5,000 in. Let me put 1,000 in. Let me put, whatever you can. That's all we need. I promise you, it's some of the best racing you ever see on a short track.
I
believe
so.
Yeah. The only reason I done what I did
is to open it back up. And the only reason I'm doing it this year again is to keep it open, because if I didn't run it this year, it wouldn't be open. But JC Clary owns the track, and Mason Price both putting a little money behind me. You know, they gave me a little money. There's a budget. That's all we'll give you this. We'll help you any way we can. But you in charge of everything. So I got the full 100% load this year, every bit of it. You know.
And you
so
know,
we all looking for sponsors, huh?
You know, I was down there, and I tell you what, it's really impressive what you have done from where it was when it was shut down and tore all to pieces. 'Cause I rode down there one time when it was shut down, and to where you are now, you have done an amazing job. And I tell you what, you ought to be commended for it, because you're doing it out of your own volition.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and you know, and it's for the love, and for the love to give us our guys, our local guys. When I say local, someone coming forward 2 hours away, a place to race. Yeah, they can go to Caroline, they can go to Fayetteville, they can go to Dublin, they can go to Virginia Motor Speedway, they can go to Dixieland. But guys, like any track you got, guys that run Clary Speedway, 90% of them ain't running nowhere else. They'll park them cars, and they won't do nothing with them. If Clary Speedway shut down today, they wouldn't even think about going anywhere else, you know. Like me and my son, we'll travel. We go to, you know, Dublin, Fayetteville, Caroline, Virginia, Tennessee, 411. We've been to all kind of track with our dirt cars, you know. And this year we got a matter of fact, we bought a brand new Masterbilt that he'll be driving this year, matter of fact, dirt late model, you know.
Buddy,
So I'm kind of excited, you know.
buddy, it wouldn't be right if I didn't ask you a couple of questions about when you were racing. Back in the day when you were racing with, let's say back with Speck and Joe and Montclair and all that group, who was the one guy that you had the hardest time racing with?
Oh my God. But anybody you want to name from Joe? Joe got me into racing. Joe, I went to a lot of races with Joe as a pit crew. Nathan Wright, I respect Nathan. You know, Speck Everett, all them guys, good driving. Eddie Royster, me and Big Eddie got into it one night, and Eddie, matter of fact, Eddie took me out, and I was sitting on the back straightaway at Clary's. First year I ran late model, and matter of fact, I was leading the race, and he drove two and coming off turn two, something sideways, and I waited for him. I was going to T-bone him. I really was. I was young boy then. I was ready for him. He had to go around the outside, up to me in the guardrail. And when he got in front of me, I dumped the clutch on that late model. I had a Camaro late model. Back then it was stock snap stuff, like it is now. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I didn't go nowhere. And I looked down and said, now, do I have it in gear? And I put it in gear. By that time, he went by me, you know. And come to find out, I had 4 flat tires. I couldn't go nowhere. so Big Eddie come on after the race. I see Big Eddie coming in the pit, you know. I said, oh, my goodness. So Eddie walked into my pit. He said, buddy. I said, yes, sir. He said, well, you going to hit me? You know, he kind of pointed his finger at me a little bit, like, well, you going to hit me or something? I said, just as sure I'm standing here, Eddie. I said, you ducked me. You just took me out. He said, if you didn't hit me, we would have had a problem. I thought to myself, yeah, I told her, you know what, whipping too. I was like 140 pounds. He was probably around 270, 80 or something, you know. But I had a lot of respect. And Monk, let me tell you a story about Monk. I think I told you, Jack, you this. When I first met Monk, you know, at the racetrack, you know, knew who he was. I never talked to him, but I was scared to death of Montclair. He just had me intimidated so bad. You know, but after 7, 8, 9 years, and got to know him a little bit better, and then he bought the racetrack, and I got to know him a little bit better, and I got where he was just almost like a father to me, figure, I really respected the man. I mean, I respect Earl Arnold. Earl Arnold, he's still living. Earl drove for me for a while there when I had my late model before I started driving it. But we had some really good drivers there this way, like most track, I was listening to Donnie, and y'all talking about that wreck. I remember that wreck too, when you're talking about Donnie and them down at Daytona.
Yeah.
I remember that time. Matter of fact, I was in Daytona watching that.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
But, well, you know, buddy,
go ahead.
it was really back in the day. I used to do the Chantilly and Brunswick, and then when you opened up, when Brinkleyville opened up initially, I just guess it would be. I started going over there. And that was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun to see guys like Montclair and Speck going at each other every week over there, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was, and they would. You know, before I moved up, and I ran the Super Street division, you know, and then finally got up in the late model with them. But them guys, when they were running, I mean, they were serious about that stuff. Many nights out there, I mean, they'd be across the infield tearing each other car up on the infield because somebody took somebody else, and they were out there like cat and mouse chasing each other, trying to tear the cars up on the infield. And you know, back then, it would be 100+ cars there every Saturday night, and you could not find a seat in neither one of the grandstands.
I know, it was really.
It was like 2,000 or 3,000 people there.
It was something else back in the day. I really loved it. It was a lot of fun, and that's basically where I grew my love for the sport, was through Chantilly and Brunswick, and back in the day at Champion and everywhere in Southampton when it came open, and being back there. But Joe Huss, it was really great to have Joe there the other day and talk to him. I think we ran 17 races while we were standing there talking. But it was.
You're talking about, remember back, what was it, South Bonnett County over here by Lawrenceville, what was the track name? They had the figure 8 on it back in the late 50s and early 60s, maybe?
Yeah, I can't think of it right off the top of my head. I remember it.
I remember, yeah, my dad, back then, I was like, I don't know, I was born in 51, so I was like 8 or 9 years old. I remember going over there with him. It was 463 because they had it crossed the Fury, Lake Gaston went down. Lake Gaston didn't come in until 62, 63. So it must have been 59 or 58, 59. And I remember that figure 8 over there. And I remember Cigar Brown over here up in Virginia.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I remember him smoking that big old cigar driving that race car. But to today, I still remember that,
Yep.
But that was some crazy stuff back then, But
yeah, it was a lot of fun, and that's where a lot of people got their love for the sport, and I really appreciate everything you're doing out there at Clary's. I'm gonna be down there in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna be down there for a race. I told myself that I'm gonna start coming down there every now and then and watching a race because I really want to be a part of that down there because it was really fun the other day.
Well, we appreciate it, and you just let me know when you're coming, okay?
I will do that.
Text, whatever, email, whatever you can do. And like I say, people want to find out about what's going on, ClarySpeedway.com.
And I'm gonna help you get it out there too because I think it's a great place to race, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
It is. And look, guys, I appreciate y'all too.
All right, well,
Thanks,
we'll talk
buddy.
to you again real soon, and good luck to you, and hope everything goes good this weekend. I won't be able to be there. I'll be in Martinsville, but I hope everything goes good, and we'll talk to you again.
Okay, thank y'all.
All right,
Thanks,
appreciate
buddy.
it, man. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
He's got some history, doesn't he?
You just would not believe the other day when I was standing around down there at Chantilly. I mean at Clary's.
Well, buddy's gonna cuss you.
Well, I know,
let
but,
you in next time.
But I mean, the conversation was with Joe Huss. I think we went to every track while we were standing there, talking about different tracks that he raced on. There was things. I mean, he told me some stuff that I didn't even know, and I thought I knew a lot about Joe, but I didn't know a whole lot. I didn't know he ran up in the northern part of the country, up in Flemington, New Jersey, and all these places. But then to stand down, I remember when Buddy and all those guys were, when I was going down there to what was then called Brinkleyville Raceway. It was a lot of fun to watch those guys because you didn't know telling what was going to happen on a Friday or Saturday night. It just wanted to.
Especially him going to take somebody out.
Oh, I told
you. There was much more of that back then than there is today.
Oh yeah, if you'd have heard Joe some of the stories he was telling, You know, and of course, like the guy said, he was trying to make it out like he wasn't that bad, but he was knocking some stuff out of the way too. But I remember the first thing that came to my mind. I'm standing there talking to Joe, and the first thing that came to my mind was I was at a race at Chantilly, and Joe was in the front, and which usually that's where he was. Mm-hmm. And Speck and them were chasing. Speck finally got to him and tapped him on the bumper and sent him around. And Joe just eased the car up in the corner and turned it off. And they threw the caution flag because they thought he threw the caution flag. Joe started the car up and fell back in there. But then he ended up behind Speck. The next time Speck went spinning. So Speck tried it and they disqualified him.
Bait the caution.
Yeah. So that was funny. I mean, it's just crazy stuff that happened. That's just my memories. I'm sorry.
No. All right, a few more Facebook posts. I really think this Facebook Live has been pretty good.
I think it's cool. I think it's, with the two of them together, we're going to cover some ground here.
Yeah. Tracy, thanks, Tracy. He said he don't have any stickers, Jack. He said, tell my buddy. I don't know who. I'm assuming he's talking about you because you're the only person here, but you ain't my buddy.
Tracy, tomorrow I'm gonna go somewhere and get them stickers straight.
Mason asked if we get a hold of the Southampton lady yet.
All right, I'm gonna give you an update on that. There's none. There's no update on that. I did send her a message earlier in the week, and never got anything back on it. So you don't know what's going on up there this week. But from what I understand, there's nothing new, nothing to talk about right now. All I know is the lights are on, and she's up there on a regular basis.
Yeah, it seems to be Monday through Friday for sure.
Yeah, and she also said come up on the weekends if people wanted to come up there and look around. But as soon as I can get some definitive word on what's going on, a lot of people have been texting me and sending me messages this week. They're really downplaying, saying, well, this don't seem right. Something don't seem right here. And so hopefully we'll know something pretty soon, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I will have her back on the show.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're still in a negotiation.
They have to be.
And that could take, as we know with Langley Speedway, it could take a long time.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll know something about Langley sometime soon. And because as far as I'm concerned, I would really love to see that back open and let's go racing at Langley. Because I don't know. I guess I've been to Langley several times, but then this last year I kind of fell in love with the place. Mm-hmm. It was kind of.
It's got a rich history. I've been there off and on, and there's a lot of families. I mean, you see it in probably about every racetrack where their kids are racing, and then their kids, and then their grandkids, and it's neat to see. And Bill's kind of in that. His family has raced there, and he's been involved in racing there, and recently been running the place, and I think has probably done as good a job as anybody that's come through Langley Speedway, in my opinion. And all in all, and I keep saying the food. I mean, you can't. A lot of places you go and eat food, you're gonna just getting some overpriced junk food. Langley Speedway, you get some really good food.
Oh yeah, it's really good food there,
and it's reasonably priced. Opposed to if you go to the Coliseum somewhere, you're gonna spend $10 for a burger, where you can go get a meal for $10 at Langley Speedway, and a half gallon of sweet tea, which I loved and get.
Yeah, I know. But I hope they get it open real soon because I think it's time to go racing.
Mm-hmm.
And
let's get down to the nitty gritty.
All these guys that from around here that race at Langley, I know they're ready to go. Ready to go back to Langley and race.
Chomping at the bit.
I know it's not the same going to South Boston and racing up there, even though there is a rich heritage there and there's a lot of stuff going on there, but that's not their home track. So they want to come back here. So let's hope they get it.
Correct.
Before we go any further, we need to make our picks for the week this weekend, and being as you get to go first.
I go first. I was last.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton said he wanted the 11, so I'll give him an 11.
Well, we just made you go first, Clayton.
I think I'm gonna go with. How much I really don't like the 48, but I think at Martinsville I'm gonna go with the 48. It's either that or the 4 to 48, or the 88. I mean, the 88's pretty good at Martinsville too.
That was my pick.
The 88.
The 88 was my pick. I think that's where they're going to come off of it right there. So.
Looking forward to going to Martinsville Speedway. It's always great racing at Martinsville. Short track.
I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's just like regular home local racing there. When you go there.
The funny part there is when we were in Charlotte and they were telling us that how much time they spend massaging the bodies. They said they spend a week going to the wind tunnel, making sure it's right, and they go to Martinsville, and that damn air don't. Well, it probably does mean something, but they're all tore up at the end. It's either you're fast or you're not.
And you can win a race with your whole car tore to pieces.
Well, look at that time Harvick won his first Martinsville. I think he'd finished second quite a few times, and I think the whole nose was about tore off the car.
You can do it that way. So anyway, hopefully we'll have a good time up there. We'll bring you some stories back. Hopefully we'll have some interviews from up there. Like to talk to a few people, and I would like to talk to those Decker girls because I think that's going to be really interesting. I mean, it's going to be hard to make the race.
Maybe we can do some Facebook Live.
Yeah, that would be good. We could do that. Anyway, what else we got going on?
Who do we got next week?
Oh, next week's show, as it stands right now,
Blast from the past.
Ashton Lewis will be with us.
Well, maybe I think our Facebook Live finally quit.
Yeah, our Facebook Live is done.
It looks like it, but
anyway,
that's
Ashton Lewis will be with us next week. Also, Sam Bass will be with us next week, and Tommy Baldwin, the owner of the 7 Cup car, is going to be with us next week. So, be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be a lot of fun, especially with Ashton Lewis.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to that. It's been a long time since I talked to him, and I really,
we actually had a little tiff there in the late models back in the day.
Lord have mercy, here we go. We're going to start this again.
No, it wasn't one time it got a little bad, but no, I mean, we had a good time. But we did beat, the pit crew beat them. We knocked them out and won the last pit crew competition at Langley Speedway. We knocked them out. I think they got one more penalty than we did.
But it was.
I wish Langley Speedway would bring that back.
But it's really cool that I talked to Ashton and his dad down at Charlotte one time when there was talk when my son was talking about going down and getting into NASCAR, getting them to be a pit crew member, and it was a lot of fun to talk to them and hear their take on things. So be interesting, really be interesting for us. Anyway, we'll hope to see you next week right here.
Same place. Get us back. Please like our videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And tell us what you think about the Ustream. We're going to hit that back up.
And Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. Right. Damn. One time he's right. But Facebook Live, it turned out to be pretty good, so we like that. I think we're going to hit that up again. So we'll see you guys next week. We'll report back from Martinsville Speedway. If you got somebody you want us to ask a question, hit us up on Facebook, and maybe we'll try to get that answer with a little Facebook Live video, maybe.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys next week.